Okay, so we're on number 7. If the ends of the diameter are at 4, 8, negative 8, 14, then the center will be halfway between that, so we could use the midpoint formula. Midpoint formula basically is just the average of the x values for the x value and the average of the y values for the y value. And that will give us the center. So if I do 4 plus negative 8 divided by 2, that would be negative 2 for the x coordinate. And then 8 plus 14, 22 divided by 2 is 11. So that's the center of the circle. Okay, so might have forgot, but to write the formula for the center, it's basically it's x minus this squared plus y minus this squared equals the radius squared. So x minus negative or x plus 2 squared and y minus 11 squared equals the radius squared. Now in this problem they don't give us the radius. So here, let me write the formula real quick. I think they use h and k. Some people do, I don't know. Maybe that was, whoops. So that's like the circle. HK would be the center of the circle. R is the radius. Okay. How do we find the radius if they don't give it to us? All right, now I'm talking to you guys. We did this on number 5.
Just plug in nothing.
Right. Plug in an x, y. Which one should I plug in? Either one. They should both give you the exact same number. So whatever looks smaller. 4, 8, I guess. Smaller. If it's a point on the circle, it should be a solution for the equation. It means if we plug it in, it should give us the right thing. So I'm going to plug in 4, 8. Yes. So 4 plus 2 is 6, squared is 36. 8 minus 11, negative 3 squared is 9. 36 plus 9 is 45. Okay, so the radius, which we don't need really, would be the square root of this. But they're not really asking for that, so this would be, not that. This would be the equation. Okie dokie. So, number 9. A lot of these things we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the covertices. We talked about the eccentricity or the major and minor. Well, we didn't talk about the wing. But what changes on 9 and 10 from 1 through 8? Yeah, they're ellipses. I didn't look up that word, but I did look up hyperbola this morning, and it is hyperbola. Even if they said hyperbola, I probably wouldn't say it because it just doesn't sound right. I just don't like it. I haven't, no, I already looked it up. I haven't looked up the plural for ellipse, though, so I'm not sure if it's ellipses. There's a gigantic dictionary over there. I'm sure it's in there. You guys can look it up.
That's a dictionary.
It's what you call an unabridged dictionary. Like they didn't leave any stuff out. As of 1907, anyway. Oh, great. I should just Google it. It's quicker.
It's no fun. That thing is. Oh my god. Not quite necessary.
7 minutes later. Found it. Yeah, when you have the plus, but there's the denominators, the 4964, that means it's going to be an oval instead of circle. When we did the homework on ellipses, though, ellipses, whatever, the x minus 2 in parentheses, that part wasn't there. Guess what the x minus 2 is going to do to it, though?
Move it
Right to, yeah. There's no trick question. And what's the y plus 10 going to do to it? Actually down to. When it's directly on the x and directly on the y, it does the opposite of what you might think. So when you have an equation like this, that moves right 3, up 7. But if it was directly on the y, if we subtracted it, that would actually, up 7 looks like this. Does that make sense? When it's directly on the number, it does the opposite. Just like the circles, the radius was at, the opposite.
It's ellipses.
Ellipses. I was right.
Ellipses.
Ellipses.
If it has the flat thing over the
Yeah, that means long E, yeah. Thumb. That only took about half as long as Googling it. Or twice as long. 3 times as long, maybe. Alright. So, where is the center going to be on number 9? 2, negative 10. Okay. We probably forgot, but the vertices. You guys remember what that
That's
meant?
where the long ones end, like the end of the circle.
Yeah, it's the long, I don't know how to describe it. I'll just show it.
It'll be the Y.
Are the endpoints on the long side, yeah, that's what we call the vertices. So yeah, on number 9, the Y is bigger, so the Y will have the vertices. So it'll go up to 8 and down to negative 8. So here's the thing though, this is a little bit new. That's what I said wasn't quite the right answer. Because the center is here, then
negative 2.
it goes up 8 from that and down 8 from this. So if I add 8, so it's going to look like this. But the center is at 2, negative 10. So it's going to go up 8 from negative 10 basically. And it'll go down 8 from there. So what's negative 10 plus 8? Negative 2. So that'll be like the top vertex. And the bottom one is negative 10 minus 8. So that'll be negative 18. So these are the vertices. That is the center.
Are the vertices the other side, like the x-axis?
Yeah, I think they might. I'm gonna skip that because our book didn't do it, but I think they would
Would that
be.
be like horizontal to
It would be, yeah. It would be
Those sides.
these things. But since our book didn't do it, I'll skip it. If we graph it, you do kind of need to know that, right? Because when we graphed it, we put dots at, this case would be like 7, well, 7 bigger than that and 7 smaller than that. Foci. Foci were like these points. It's been a couple weeks. Somewhere in here that every point on this graph is like equidistant. If you add these two distances together, it's going to be the same on every. That's what it means. Kind of a help for graphing if you're actually anyway. And how did we do that? I bet we forgot. Anybody remember? We subtracted. That's part of it.
Bottom part from the second
square.
Subtract and square. You guys didn't remember. So you always do the big one minus the small one. So it's 64 minus 49 is 15. And then you do square root of that. So square root of 15. Here's the problem though. On the homework, it would have just been 0 square root of 15. Square root of 15 is like 3.9, something like that. But and 0 negative square root of 15. But the problem is, our our center's not at 0, 0 on this. So it's actually gonna be square root of 15 up from this for the top focus, and square root of 15 down from this. So here's how I'm gonna write it. 2 negative 10 plus square root of 15. That's one of the foci. And then 2 negative 10 minus square root of 15. That would be the bottom one. Lots of questions. So those are foci. Those are vertices. That's the center. Yeah, that's good. That's good enough. That's all we did in the homework. All right. Oh, gross. Number 11. It's pretty short. Number 13, I should have to grab. Okay, on number 11, where would the center be? What's that plus 17 halves do? Carson?
Does it go down 17?
If it's on the X, moves it in the
Oh.
X direction. So it goes left 17 halves, the center does. The whole thing does. And what's the plus 10 do on the Y? Down. So the center is going to be there. When it's directly on the X, directly on the Y, it does the opposite. It moves it left 17 halves and down 10. All right. What was the other question we answered? What's the vertices? That's right. So what's the let's start with this. What's the major axis? The X, because it has the bigger thing, 144. So where's the vertex going to be? 12 up, 12 down. But it's not 12 up and 12 down from 0, 0. It's 12 up and 12 down. Whoops, I said it wrong. 12 right and 12 left from this. So it's 12 bigger than that and 12 smaller than that. This is 17 divided by 2 is like 8.5. So it might be easier for us to think of it like that. So if I did negative 8.5 plus 12, that would be like 3.5. And if I did negative 8.5 minus 12, you get that. So it's really long. Anyway, yeah, the center is like the graph would look like this. It's way over here. Vertices, and then we also did foci. And how did we do foci? Subtracted the denominator squared. 144 minus 81, 63. Square root of 63. Does that simplify? Yes. It's 3 square root of 7. Okay, but here's the thing. It's 3 square root of 7 from the center, going that way and that way. So it's this plus 3 square root of 7 and this minus 3 square root of 7. That doesn't really simplify. It's a weird decimal, so we're just going to leave it like that. So I'm just going to write negative 8.5 plus 3 square root of 7, comma, negative 10, and negative 8.5 minus 3 square root of 7, comma, negative 10. Now if we actually had to graph that, what would we do? put it in the calculator, get a decimal, put it on the graph. Next few I don't think will be too hard. Well, I think I cut off the last page because what kind of graphs are 12 through 15 going to make? Circles. So, actually, it's not true. It's not going to be circles. How do I know it's not circles? Well, yeah, it will be. Yeah, it will be. It's only not a circle if, like the denominators would be the same, or would not be the same, I guess. Then it's not a circle. Okay, so number 12, where is the center of the circle going to be? Or, okay, 13. That doesn't really matter since it's 13. Are you talking about 13?
Yeah.
Where's the center of the circle going to be?
Oh, 3.
Well, close. That's part of it. 0, 3. Since there is no, it's x minus nothing. 0, 3. So put a dot at 0, 3. And what's the radius?
3.
So how could we graph this then?
Go up 3.
Right. Just kind of go 3 in all the cardinal directions. 1, 2, 3. And then make a perfect circle. Just like me.
What is there? You're happy.
My graph is not, my XY coordinate plane is not perfect, so I can't do it.
You were approximately 45.
It'd be better if I just.
Oh, you can throw it. That's cool.
Yeah,
Whoa.
It bounces. It's like a bouncy ball.
that's cool. You guys prepare to have your mind blown.
Okay.
Actually, I made it too big. It's gotta fit. It's gotta fit in the screen. Anyway, go away. Way off track. Alright. There's my perfect circle. Whatever. Alright. Numbers 14 or 15, are they both the same pretty much? Yeah. Alright. 15, where's the center going to be?
-2. I mean 0, -2.
0, -2. So put it out there. And what's the radius? 2. On 14, what's the radius going to be? Square root of 30. What the heck is that? 5 point something. So you plug in your calculator, get a decimal, and then try to make it pretty on the graph. So the center on 14 is at 0, 0. So you just go 5.5, about 5.5 away in all directions. So 0, -2 on this one, and then 2 in all directions. Keep drawing it until it gets decent. Alright, that's it.